What's up, 180? How are we doing tonight? You doing okay? Man, it's great to see you guys. This is a good night, isn't it? We've had a great time. Who dominated in cornhole out there? I saw some guys dominating. Who won? Raise your hands. Yeah. Yeah, okay, that means the others of you, not so much. Who dominated in 9 square in the air out there? All right. I saw some folks shooting pool. I saw some folks playing upstairs on a few other games and things up there. It's going to be a fun night. Well, hey, man, if we have not met, my name is Jeff Hughes. I serve as the Connections pastor here, and I just want to introduce myself because I know there's some of you who probably don't have any clue why this old guy with gray beard is up here talking tonight. They were trying to find somebody to talk about parents, and nobody in here was old enough, I guess, and so like, hey, let's bring the old fogey guy here. But no, seriously. So I serve as Connections pastor now. Simply put, what that means is I did youth ministry here for 17 years, and now I do youth ministry for adults. And so it's a lot of fun. We just break stuff and have a great time. So also, I get the opportunity to lead our extension site at Bethel University. So if you are a junior or senior, I'd love to talk to you about that. It's going to be a real exciting thing with Bethel University called BU at UC. So tonight, they asked me to help kind of wrap up this series, Relationship Goals. We've talked about romantic relationships. We've talked about friendships. And tonight they said, hey, will you talk about parenting relationships and relationships of authority, right? Everyone's favorite relationship to talk about, right? Not a chance. But before we do that, I want to dive in. I want to show you a little bit about my family so we can put that slide back up there, my family. This is me. I'm the one in the diaper, okay? Don't be confused. That's me in the diaper. That's my sister Kim there. She's 4 years older. And then that's my mom, Jan, and my dad, Gene. And we grew up in West Texas, and so I moved here about 21 years ago to actually work with 180, what I thought was just going to be 3 months, and then that 3 months has turned into 21 years, and I love it. It's a great place to be here at 180 at Union Chapel, and so if you're relatively new and you're in the house here tonight, get plugged in, man. It's a great, great place. You know, maybe you're here for the first time or you're relatively new and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to dive in to get to know people or whatever. Do it. It's an awesome place. So let me tell you about my parents. My dad, white t-shirt there, mustache. Isn't he handsome? Very handsome. My dad served as a juvenile probation officer through most of my adolescence. Can I get a, that was tough, right? No, it was pretty good. It was awesome until the one day that my friend Matt said, my dad's name is Gene. He said, Gene, I bet you don't even know how to put handcuffs on somebody. And so my dad, with this kind of wiry grin, just walked down the hallway and grabbed a set of handcuffs. And he hogtied my best friend Matt, and he put him on the ground. And Matt, Gene, I'm sorry. And it was awesome. It was amazing. My mom there, she's the blonde in the white shirt. Her name's Jan. And my mom taught third grade for like 30 years. 30 years with third graders. Not the same kids, because they eventually moved on. But she was with these kids for a long time. And you know what I saw is they have a love for people still to this day and had a love for people growing up as a middle school and high school. And I realized that the home that I grew up in may be very similar to the one that you're growing up in right now, or maybe completely different. And so I just want you to know that some of the things that I'm saying tonight come from where I'm at, and and where I have been, and it doesn't apply at all to where your home situation might be like, oh man, you don't understand. Well, listen, I worked 17 years with teenagers right here in this room and through this campus, and so I do understand. I understand if home life is not a great situation, if it's a place where you don't really want to be and you really don't want to go back there, and it's a situation where you'd rather be the farthest place that you can be from home and authority and mom and dad and parents and those that you live with, I get it. But tonight I want to talk with you about a few things that will apply not only to your parent relationships, but also to any relationship with anybody in authority. And guess what, man? We're going to be under authority of other people our whole life. Maybe it's going to be a boss that we kind of don't know if we like, but we're not really sure, but we need that paycheck and we want to do that job, but they're the boss. Man, you're under their authority. These things that we're going to talk about tonight about parent relationships will apply in any situation when you are under the authority of someone else. And you know what? I've been praying for you. I want you to know that. I've been praying that the exact people who are in the room right here tonight would be in the room tonight. I've been doing that for a couple of weeks now. And so I believe that you're here for a specific reason tonight. And I hope that something that I say tonight will help somebody. My hope is that you will walk away and that every one of us will have one thing out of this talk tonight. And you say, that's the thing that I need to really just own and live out, right? I don't need you to get every single thing that's talked about. I need you to get the one thing that is for you tonight. And so I just ask that you would lean in and that you would listen to that. And so that's my hope, is that you would grab a hold of that. Let's go to that next slide real quick. I want you to see this. This is my sister, Kim. We were climbing trees. I'm the one in the overalls. Had a great time growing up. It was awesome. A lot of the things that I learned about authority and parents and friendships and even romantic relationships that have been covered by others throughout this series have come from the friendship that I've had with my sister. Now, we haven't always been very best friends. She was 4 years older, so I was like the little nagging 8th grader, when she was an upperclassman. You can imagine that if you're an upperclassman, right? Okay, but we're great friends, and I love my sister. And she's taught me a lot about relationships. And many of the things tonight come from both my parents and from my sister. So tonight I want you to see Ephesians chapter 6, verses 1 to 3. We'll throw them up on the screen for you. If you have your YouVersion Bible app, you can open that up. You can follow along. That's fine. I just ask that that's the only place that you are if you're there. So check this out. It says, children, okay, that's all of us. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Now you see a key word that's really critical. It says honor. And honor is huge to me. Honor is like one of those things that just cuts to the core of who I am. Man, you honor somebody in a relationship, you will see doors open and you will have opportunities and God's favor given to you. So grab a hold of that tonight. Honor is a good thing. Can you just grab that? And so we see this here, that it says, honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise. Now, I like that, right? It's not just a commandment, it's a commandment with a promise. You see the promise which comes right after this, and it says this, so that it may go well with you and that you will enjoy a long life on earth. How many of you want to enjoy long life on earth? That you want it to go well with you? Okay, great. So we can reverse, and we can see that if we obey our parents, and I'll put others in authority over us right there, that, there's my alarm right there. Hang on a minute. Oh, apparently I was supposed to put one of my kids to bed. They'll have to wait. Hang on a second. You really should turn off your phone when you're going to preach. So, honor. I'm new to this. Come on. It's the first commandment with a promise. And the promise is that it may go well with you. And we all want it to go well with us, but a lot of times when we see a command in the Bible, what we don't do is we don't reverse back to see what the promise is that comes after that and how we actually get that. And so we get it by honoring, and we get it by honoring our parents in this situation. So what does that even look like? Tonight I'm going to talk about 6 things, and I'm going to go quick. In fact, some of them I'm just going to blaze through and just mention. And if you want to learn more about any of these, you can talk to any of our leaders here. We've got an amazing group of leaders here in the crowd that I see right here tonight who love you, who care about you, and want nothing better than to see you follow Jesus and be able to live life and share together. I also see some amazing high school students in this room, so shout out to you guys, way to be, because God is going to use you as leaders right here in 180 in this season and in the days to come. And so if you are a high school student or you're an upperclassman and you're in this room right now, I want you to know you're here for a purpose. And so we want to honor you, but we want you to honor this ministry by plugging in and doing the very best work that God is calling you to do, because it's so significant. All right, I'm going to go because I'm going to preach 6 messages before I get to the 6 things I'm going to talk about if I'm not careful. All right, here's the first thing. The first way to honor your parents is to love God and to love other people. Love God and love people. Man, listen, I could talk to you for 2 hours about this. I'm not going to. But I could talk to you for 2 hours about this, of why this is so important. And if I were to ask your parents to rank their desires for you, what are the desires that they have for you? I imagine this would be in the very top of the list. No matter if they're a Christian, no matter if they go to church or not, they want you to love God, to know your Creator who made you and formed you, and to love other people. We see in the Bible, in Matthew 22, an answer to this question. And let me back up and set some tone here, because Jesus is walking with some guys, and one of them says, hey, what's the greatest thing I could be doing? What's the greatest commandment? What's the greatest thing? And Jesus says this in verse 37 of Matthew 22. He says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with your mind, with your strength. This is the greatest commandment. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. So what we see Jesus saying is that the most important thing that we are supposed to do is to love God and to love other people. And so if you want to honor your parents, love God, love other people. Man, I don't know about you, but sometimes it's so much easier to love people that we don't live with, isn't it? Because the fact you just live in the same household together is this barrier towards loving them, right? If you got a sibling, you got a brother, sister, older, younger, yeah, you know how hard it is to love them. Yeah, your parents, those in authority, those that you live with, it can be a challenge to love them, and God wants us to love them. But let me give you a hint. If you get this one right, everything else becomes easier. It doesn't become the easiest thing you do, but it becomes easier. So get that. Love God, love other people. Man, all these other things will fall into line if we can just grab a hold of that one. Somebody's like, man, I already found the one thing that I need. Now, here's the thing. In these 6 things, chances are there's probably 3 or 4 that you do amazing. There's probably 3 or 4 that you do. Some of you do 5 of them amazing. There might be one of you in all 6 of these things, you're like, 100 out of 100, I got it. Okay? You need to find the one thing. Some of you just found your one thing. Because loving God and loving others is an area where you'd say, man, I'm not doing very good at that. If you get that in order, and we can help you with that, then all the rest, they fall in line. Here's the second thing to honor your father and mothers, to be honest. To be honest, man, even when it might hurt you, honesty must be a value that you hold high in your life. You see, here's the deal. You will develop a reputation with people in authority, and that includes your parents, your teachers, your coaches, your bosses. You will develop a reputation, either a good one or a bad one, about how honest you are. All right, I know some of you are like, oh, man, what does that even look like? Here's what it looks like. Can I help somebody real quick? Let me help you. Here is God's plan for honesty. Every single word, every single action, every single time. Did you get it? God's plan for honesty is every single word, every single action, every single time. And so there's no area where it's like, oh, well, it's going to be a lot easier for me if I just do this a little bit different. No, it's not true. It's not true. Every word, every action, every time. That's what God wants. And that's what your parents, that's what those in authority over you want for you when it comes to being honest. Here's the third thing. We're moving quick. Work hard. You honor your mother and your father, your parents, those in authority, your guardians, your bosses by working hard. Man, I will never forget the day that I was with my dad, and I was probably 7th or 8th grade. And we were mowing a yard for pay together. My dad was unemployed in this time, so it might have been a little bit younger than that. We're mowing a yard for a lady named Mrs. Gaines. And so we had mowed this yard, and we had weed-eated, around the area where the grass would grow over the driveway. And I grabbed the broom because we weren't just going to leave it, but there was grass, trimmings and clippings on the driveway. And I grabbed the broom, and I started to take those grass clippings and sweep them into the freshly cut yard. And my dad said, oh, no. You see, that's not the way we do it. She is paying us for a job that is done with excellence and that is done with hard work and the right pay for that hard work. And my dad taught me that day, we're going to sweep this up, we're going to put it in the dustpan, we're going to put it in the trash can, and then we're going to take it to the dumpster, and we're going to get it out of here. When very easily, probably no one would have noticed or known how we just kind of swept that into the yard. I wouldn't have looked as good. It wouldn't have been amazing, but it would have been all right. No. Dad taught me, you work hard. And I still remember that. Again, I'm not sure exactly what grade I was in, but I know we were working together and we had a project, and it was to mow this neighbor lady's yard. And man, I will always remember that. My dad taught me to not cut corners in your work, to do something well and to work hard in it. That honest work deserves honest pay. And so I'll just never forget those illustrations of things through my life. And I think sometimes we get into a situation where they say, well, what's in it for me? Well, work hard. And let me promise you that if you work hard and you prove yourself, that there will be people in your life who see that, who maybe you don't even know right now, and they'll say, that guy, I want to hire him because he's a hard worker. That girl right there, she works hard. She gets the job done. And man, I just want to encourage you, even around here at the church and I-180, work hard. You're not getting a paycheck here, but we get an amazing reward of being able to be a part of an awesome ministry like 180 to our city. So work hard. All right, here's the next thing. Be obedient. I love Hebrews 13, verse 16 to 18 that says this, and do not forget to do good and share with others, for which such sacrifices God is pleased. Then it goes on and it says this, obey your leaders and submit to their authority, and they keep watch over you as men who must give an account. Obey them so that their work will be a joy, not a burden. Then it goes on and says, for that would be no advantage to you. Let me tell you, you make your mom, your dad's work raising you a joy, and there will be freedoms and opportunities that abound in your life. You make their job, their responsibility, raising you a burden, and just the opposite will happen. Every freedom, every opportunity, every little bit of grace that you get in terms of, oh yeah, you want to take my car? Yeah, here, take my car. You know, yeah, you want to stay out a little bit later? Yeah, here you go. Oh, you need a little bit extra allowance? Here you go. Doors will open up if you will show honor by being obedient. You may not agree with every single thing that they tell you to do, but if you'll obey them, you'll be able to set the rules down the road. And it's an awesome, awesome thing to just say, you know what? And don't say this out loud, because if you're like me, when you open your mouth, that's when trouble starts, when you're in a situation with your parents in a conversation as an adolescent, right? But in your heart, just say to yourself, you know what? I don't agree with them, but God put them in my life as my authority. And so I'm going to honor them, and I'm going to obey. And I'm going to respect them in this. Now, let me help somebody tonight with something that my dad used to say that has stuck with me for 41 years. My dad said this, and I want to put it on the screen for you. He said this. He said, delayed obedience is disobedience. Delayed obedience is disobedience. So if I were to say to you tonight, 180, how many want to disobey? How many want to disobey your parents? You just want to disobey, right? No. There wouldn't be hands up around the room. I mean, you might joke around and go, oh, yeah, I do. But if you saw the consequences that came with that, you would quickly put your hand down, right? But what happens is it's the in a minute syndrome. It's the when I'll get to it. It's the after while. It's all of those things. And so what we do so often is that we think, oh, well, I'll obey them. I'll pick up my clothes off the floor and put them in the hamper, or I'll take out the trash, or I'll feed the dog. I'm going to get to it. Your time to get to it is when they tell you to. Maybe I help somebody there. Delayed obedience is disobedience. And I want to push pause on this for a second. And I want to shift gears to our relationship with God. Because I think there's some people here in this room who God is telling you to do something. You feel it. You know it. And you know you have a choice right now in your life to obey it or to disobey it. And you've chosen delayed obedience. You said, no, surely not, God. I'm an 8th grader right now. You don't want me to fully live for you and stand up for Christ and follow you and reach my friends for Christ. You don't want to do that. So it's just delayed obedience. It's the I'll follow you later, God. I'm doing my thing right now. And so there's this delayed obedience to what God is asking of you right now. Right now in this room, I just feel like maybe there's somebody here who God is telling you very specifically something you're supposed to do or not supposed to do. And you say, you know what, I'll get to that later because I want to live my life right now. I want to enjoy what I've got going on right now. And delayed obedience is disobedience. And there's probably nobody here in the room that would say, yeah, I want to disobey God's plan for me. Yeah, sign me up for that, right? No. But we do it by delaying being obedient to Him tonight. Here's the 5th thing. There's only 6, and here's the 5th. Show appreciation. I've learned that a little bit of appreciation goes a long way, and you don't have to go crazy, overboard, and mushy. In fact, they'll wonder, what'd he break? What'd he do wrong? What'd he steal? Don't go home tonight and do something just extravagant out of the blue when you never show appreciation, because they will be skeptical. They will. But I've learned that an attitude of appreciation is so important for middle school and high school students. Really, for all of us, isn't it? Every single one of us, an attitude of appreciation. So many times we stop at an attitude. We just show our parents an attitude instead of an attitude of appreciation. And as you show appreciation for the things in life, it's the big things, it's the small things. It's the fact that they feed you, that you get to live in the house, that you got a bed to stay in. That you probably, many of you got driven here tonight Or you're here because your parents said, you know what, I'm going to make arrangements for you to be here. I'm going to either buy you a car, or I'm going to, put gas in your car, or I'm going to get you here, or we're going to do a carpool or whatever. But just show some appreciation. Just say thank you. Just say thank you and show appreciation. Maybe you're here tonight. The thing you need to think about is, how can I tell my parents thank you? Because I really just haven't done that in a long, long time. Write them a note. Leave it for them. Dear Mom and Dad. Now, when they see that, they may freak out. Okay? Make sure they can read your writing. Okay? Just, hey, I was at 180. This old guy talked about parents. I want to say thank you. All right? That's all you got to do. All right, let me move to the last thing, because I think that you guys are getting this. I'm seeing it. When I think of relationships, especially with parents, I think of a particular thing, I borrowed this from my daughter. This is my daughter Lily's bank, and it's a little piggy bank, isn't it? Isn't it nice? Isn't that cool? Let me tell you that when I walked out the door to come to 180 tonight with my 3.5-year-old's piggy bank, she said, Dad, what are you doing with that? I said, I'll be really careful with it, and I'm going to help some people. I said, I'll bring it back to you. And in fact, I'm going to put some more in it because you let me use it. She goes, okay. All she wants is chocolate right now. That's all she cares about. So this is my daughter Lily's piggy bank. We bought this at Target in case you're looking for a good little piggy bank. And I want to talk about this for just a moment, because the last point here is to be trustworthy. To be trustworthy. And see, when I think of relationships, especially with parents, I think of something that I like to refer to as the trust bank. The trust bank. And so the trust bank is an imaginary account that every single one of us has with those in authority. And in this trust bank, you have an opportunity to either put trust in or take trust out. And so I have here in my hand some coins, some pennies or some quarters, just some change that I grabbed. And every time my daughter or my son are trustworthy in this invisible trust bank, I'm adding trust. Okay? And now, if you think about this trust bank right here, look at the top. That's pretty small, isn't it? It's not this massive spot, but if you flip the bank over and you look at the bottom, you see this stopper. And I don't know if you have a piggy bank, if you've seen one of these before, but you've got this. And the problem is, now I've got this tip this way, I've taken the stopper out, is this. Now you saw how slowly I put coins in this, and you saw how quickly they come out, didn't you? In our life, in our relationships with people in authority and with our parents, you have a trust bank. And trust goes in very slow, and it comes out very, very quick. Go to that next slide of the check, the picture. So this is not mine. Okay, this was not returned to me. Checks are kind of one of those things that we don't write very often. I very rarely write a check. But if you know anything about checks, Lily, I'll have to fix your bank later. If you know anything about checks, when they get returned, if they have a stamp on this is a very, very bad thing, because this means non-sufficient funds, okay? Or there might be an IS, insufficient funds. And that means when you tried to cash that check or when you tried to swipe your card, it didn't go through because there wasn't enough money in the account. And so apply this to your relationship with your parents and those in authority. What it means is when you ask for something, a privilege, when you ask to do something, they're going to go to that invisible trust bank and they're going to think, is there enough built up there? You see, the problem for some of us in this room right now, now listen, you need to plug the bank because you can't put trust in fast enough. It's just falling right out. You do that by honoring, respecting, obeying your parents and those in authority. Now listen, friends, I want to remind you, these all go back to loving God and loving other people, which again is the greatest commandment. Can we put all 6 of these up there for you to see? I think we've got a slide with that. There we go. What I want you to do right now, 180, I want you to look at all 6 of these areas of how to honor and respect those in authority and your parents, and I want you to find your one. I want you to find your one right now, because in a minute when we go to some conversations, they're going to ask that question, what's the one? What's the one for you? And so I want you to find it. Maybe you want to grab your phone and write something down on that. Maybe write which note or write it down on. I see some of you taking notes, write something down, because they're going to ask that question. And we are here to help you with whatever that is. But again, loving God and loving others is where all of these things come from. If we can get that right, we'll get the others right too. Let me ask you just to take a moment. Let me pray for you. That'd be all right. You know, maybe you're here in this place tonight and the last time you prayed was the last time you were here, the last time you were in church. And the idea of opening up your heart to God is brand new to you. And you know, maybe you're here right now and you know that the thing that you need to do is to love God. And really everything else will stem from that. So God, I pray for those in this room and they would say, I've got to get that right. I've got to love you. And so as we open our hearts to you tonight to look at these 6 things, but particularly loving God, Lord, help us. Help us to honor you. Help us to obey you. Help us to get that right, because we know that all the other things will flow out of that. And so Jesus, right now, I just pray that you would help us as we open our hearts to you. Lord, guide us and show us the thing that we need to do to honor, to respect our parents and those in authority, and help us in the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.